And then by yelling, it's just things started happening and experiences, friends that I grew up with.
I looked at this little man that I could have squashed him like a bug.
The Jeffersons was undeniably one of the biggest TV sensations of its era, but one pivotal moment turned the tide for the beloved show. Was this scene simply too controversial for audiences to handle, or was there a deeper story lurking behind the scenes? Could a single scene really have that much power? Was it a simple mistake, or something far darker lurking beneath the surface? Today we uncover the truth behind the Jeffersons' most infamous moment, one that almost ended the show and silenced a voice for change. Stay with us as we dive deep into the controversy, the backlash, and the shocking reasons why this scene almost killed the Jeffersons forever. The history of the Jeffersons.
You know, Mrs. Jefferson, if I ever do find my real mother, I hope she's a lot like you.
Well, I was your mother for 2 hours, so I guess I'm entitled to this.
Louise Jefferson, played by the talented Isabel Sanford, first stepped into the TV world on All in the Family during the episode titled Lionel Moves into the Neighborhood on March 2, 1971. In this episode, Louise, her husband George, and their son Lionel moved next door to Archie and Edith Bunker in a working-class Queens neighborhood. Interestingly, Lionel, portrayed by Mike Evans, had already made his debut in the very first episode of the show. Norman Lear, the mastermind behind All in the Family, originally envisioned the role of George Jefferson specifically for Sherman Hemsley. However, scheduling conflicts arose as Sherman was tied up with a Broadway play at the time. Rather than recasting, Lear held off on introducing George, opting instead to create Henry Jefferson, George's younger brother, who was played by Mel Stewart. George eventually made his on-screen debut in the episode Henry's Farewell, when Sherman was finally available to take on the iconic role. The concept for the Jeffersons came to life after Lear met with members of the Black Panther Party. They pointed out that black characters on television were often depicted as poor or struggling, and they expressed a desire to see a successful black family represented. Inspired by this conversation, Lear created the Jeffersons, which followed a black family thriving and moving on up. The Jefferson family remained part of All in the Family until 1975, when they earned their own spin-off. The Jeffersons chronicled the family's move from their working-class Queens neighborhood to an upscale Manhattan apartment. The show also expanded its cast, bringing in Lionel's fiancée, Jenny, along with her family, adding another layer to the story of the Jeffersons' upward mobility. Jenny's role was brought to life by Berlinda Tolbert, while her on-screen parents were portrayed by Franklin Cover as Tom Willis and Roxy Roker as Helen Willis. In an interesting twist, when Roker was asked if she was comfortable playing a character in an interracial marriage, she reportedly showed the casting team a picture of her real-life husband, Cy Kravitz, who was white. The transition from All in the Family to the Jeffersons was seamless. In the episode The Jeffersons Move Up, which aired on January 11, 1975, Edith Bunker bids an emotional farewell to Louise as the Jefferson family prepares to leave their old life behind. Just 1 week later, The Jeffersons premiered, diving into their new life in Manhattan. George's journey as a businessman began during All in the Family. After winning $5,000 in a lawsuit, he used the money to open his first dry cleaning business. By the time the Jeffersons kicked off, George had expanded to 5 dry cleaning stores across New York City, cementing the family's upward mobility. In their luxurious new apartment, the Jeffersons formed an unlikely friendship with Tom and Helen Willis, an interracial couple. While George often made sharp-tongued jokes about their relationship, calling them zebras, the families grew close over time. Jenny, the Willis' daughter and Lionel's girlfriend, eventually became his wife. Together, they had a daughter named Jessica, adding another layer to the interconnected lives of the Jefferson and Willis families. Marla Gibbs brought unforgettable humor to the Jeffersons as Florence Johnston, the sharp-witted, sassy housekeeper who was never shy about poking fun at George's height and baldness. Another fan favorite was Paul Benedict as Harry Bentley, the quirky British neighbor with a knack for telling long-winded, often tedious stories. George, with his trademark impatience, would regularly cut Bentley off by slamming the door in his face. Despite this, Bentley remained a loyal friend to the Jeffersons, affectionately referring to them as Mr. J and Mrs. J. Zara Cully played George's strong-willed mother, Olivia, who had a famously prickly relationship with her daughter-in-law, Louise. Tragically, Cully passed away in 1978, and her character was written out of the series. Another memorable character was Ralph Hart, the opportunistic doorman played by Ned Werdimer. Ralph was always angling for tips, and while George often gave him money, Ralph frequently tried to get even more favors from him. Danny Wells portrayed Charlie, the bartender at the local bar frequented by the Jeffersons. Charlie's struggle with alcoholism was briefly explored, with the Jeffersons stepping in to help him get back on track, though the storyline was not revisited in later episodes. What set the Jeffersons apart wasn't just its humor, but also its willingness to tackle real issues. The show fearlessly explored race, class, and family dynamics through the lens of a successful black couple navigating life in a predominantly white upper-class neighborhood. George's rise from owning one dry cleaning store to running a small chain brought new opportunities, but also introduced new challenges, reflecting the complexities of social mobility. Despite its massive popularity, the Jeffersons came to an abrupt and unceremonious end when CBS canceled it without warning. The cast was blindsided by the decision, with Sherman Hemsley learning about it from a newspaper, and Isabel Sanford describing it as a deeply disrespectful way to close such a beloved show. Even though the cancellation stung, the legacy of the Jeffersons endured. Cast members went on to guest star in other series, and George and Louise, lovingly known as Wheezy, made a nostalgic return in the final episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1996. Over the years, The Jeffersons has cemented its place in television history for its groundbreaking portrayal of black success and its ability to blend humor with heartfelt, often hard-hitting storytelling. Rise to relevancy.
Good evening, Master Jefferson, sir.
What are you wearing?
Why, this is my new maiden uniform. I just bought it today, sir.
The Jeffersons was a trailblazing sitcom that shattered barriers and captivated audiences for an impressive 11 seasons, delivering 253 episodes of laughter, cultural commentary, and unforgettable moments. Premiering in January 1975, the series carved its place as a massive hit in television history, consistently dominating the ratings and climbing into the Nielsen Top 10 multiple times. During its 8th season, it achieved a milestone, becoming the first African-American sitcom since Sanford & Son to break into the coveted top 5, a testament to its widespread appeal and cultural significance. As one of the defining shows of its era, The Jeffersons left a profound and lasting impact on black pop culture, resonating strongly throughout the 1980s and beyond. From the outset, The Jeffersons made waves. In its debut season, the show ranked at number 4, just behind All in the Family, the series that had introduced George and Louise Jefferson as side characters. While the ratings dipped slightly during the 2nd and 3rd seasons, The Jeffersons came roaring back in 1979, reclaiming its position among the top 10 most-watched shows. By the 1981-82 season, the series had soared to an extraordinary 3rd place in the Nielsen rankings, surpassed only by the juggernauts Dallas and 60 Minutes. Even as the years passed, the show remained firmly within the top 20, showcasing its remarkable staying power and enduring appeal. The success of The Jeffersons wasn't just a matter of ratings. The show garnered critical acclaim as well. Over its run, it earned an impressive 14 Emmy nominations, celebrating both its comedic brilliance and its cultural importance. Marla Gibbs, who played Florence, the sharp-tongued and hilariously witty housekeeper, became a fan favorite and received Emmy nominations every year from 1981 to 1985 for Best Supporting Actress. Sherman Hemsley, whose portrayal of the irrepressible and iconic George Jefferson became a defining performance of his career, earned a Best Actor nomination in 1984. In 1983, the show took home an Emmy for Outstanding Videotape Editing for a Series, adding yet another accolade to its list of achievements. Perhaps the most groundbreaking moment in the show's awards history came in 1981, when Isabel Sanford made television history. Her portrayal of Louise Jefferson, a character full of grace, wit, and resilience, earned her the Emmy for Best Actress in a Comedy Series, making her the first African-American actress to win in this category. Sanford's win was a watershed moment for television, standing alongside Gail Fisher's groundbreaking Emmy win in 1970 for Mannix as a milestone in representation. Sanford's consistent excellence was also recognized with 7 consecutive Emmy nominations from 1979 to 1985 and 5 Golden Globe nominations during the show's run. Her achievements not only solidified her legacy, but also underscored the broader cultural significance of The Jeffersons. Decades after its final episode aired, The Jeffersons proved its lasting influence with a 2019 live television special on ABC. Produced by Norman Lear and Jimmy Kimmel, the event featured reenactments of episodes from All in the Family and The Jeffersons, bringing the series back into the spotlight. The star-studded cast included Woody Harrelson, Marisa Tomei, Jamie Foxx, Wanda Sykes, and Marla Gibbs, who reprised her iconic role as Florence. This nostalgic tribute not only honored the legacy of The Jeffersons, but also introduced its groundbreaking humor and social commentary to a new generation of viewers. One of the show's most enduring cultural contributions was its unforgettable theme song, Movin' On Up. Written by Jeanette DuBois and Jeff Barry, the upbeat anthem encapsulated the spirit of the series, celebrating ambition, resilience, and the American dream. DuBois, also known for her role on Good Times, approached Norman Lear with aspirations to expand her career into music. Lear encouraged her to compose a theme song for his new sitcom about a dry cleaner who had moved on up to a luxurious Manhattan high-rise. Inspired by her mother's dream of financial security and comfort, DuBois crafted the lyrics with heartfelt determination. The resulting song captured Lear's vision perfectly and became an instant classic, immortalized in the hearts of fans everywhere. Beyond its on-screen achievements, The Jeffersons also found success in home entertainment. Between 2002 and 2007, Sony Pictures released the first 6 seasons on DVD, allowing fans to revisit the show's iconic moments. In 2013, Mill Creek Entertainment acquired the rights and issued the first 2 seasons on DVD, followed by Shout Factory's complete 11-season collection in 2014. Spanning 33 discs, this comprehensive release gave both longtime fans and newcomers the opportunity to experience the full legacy of The Jeffersons. Through its bold exploration of race, class, family dynamics, and social mobility, The Jeffersons became a cornerstone of television history. With its iconic characters, witty humor, and uplifting message, the series remains a testament to the power of storytelling to inspire and entertain across generations. Even decades later, the Jefferson family continues to move on up in the hearts of audiences everywhere. Casting changes and controversy. Over its 11-season run, The Jeffersons experienced its share of casting changes and behind-the-scenes challenges, adding layers of complexity to its storied history. Among the most notable shifts was the revolving door for the character of Lionel Jefferson, George and Louise's son. Mike Evans, who originated the role of Lionel on All in the Family and continued it on The Jeffersons, departed after the first season to focus on other projects, including co-creating the groundbreaking sitcom Good Times. To fill the gap, Damon Evans stepped in, taking over as Lionel during the 2nd through 4th seasons. Damon's portrayal of Lionel offered a different take on the character, with a softer and more reserved demeanor compared to Mike's witty and confident interpretation. Damon Evans remained with the show until halfway through the 4th season, making his final appearance in the episode Lionel Gets the Business. Mike Evans then returned to reclaim the role in the 1979-1980 season, bringing back Lionel's original sharp-edged charisma. However, this return was short-lived, as Mike left the series again after just 1 season. Ultimately, the writers decided to write out Lionel and his wife, Jenny, a move that reflected the character's growing marital troubles. These issues were explored in a poignant 2-part episode during the 8th season, marking the end of their narrative arc on the show. While the cast changes added some turbulence, the Jeffersons enjoyed consistent success, maintaining a strong presence in the Nielsen ratings for much of its run. In the summer of 1980, the show ranked 8th in viewership, and by the 1981-1982 season, it reached an all-time high, securing the number 3 spot. This peak placed it among the most watched programs on television, a remarkable achievement for a sitcom with such bold cultural themes. However, as the series entered its later years, its ratings began to wane. By the mid-1980s, the Jeffersons struggled to remain in the top 30, reflecting a shift in audience preferences and the natural life cycle of long-running shows. Its final episode, Red Robins, aired on July 2, 1985, quietly concluding a groundbreaking series that had reshaped the television landscape. Alongside its success, the Jeffersons faced its share of controversies, both off-screen and behind the scenes. One of the most significant disputes involved Eric Monte, the creative mind behind Cooley High and a writer for Good Times. Monte alleged that Norman Lear, the celebrated producer of The Jeffersons, had stolen his ideas for the characters of George and Louise Jefferson. In 1977, Monte filed a lawsuit against Lear and others, accusing them of racism and intellectual theft. Monte maintained that Lear had unfairly taken credit for his concepts without proper acknowledgement or compensation. The legal battle was protracted, and while Monte achieved some financial settlement, the fallout from the dispute effectively blacklisted him in Hollywood. Struggling with the aftermath, Monte's career suffered a steep decline, and he faced challenges with homelessness and addiction. Despite these hardships, Monte remained outspoken about his grievances, often highlighting the systemic inequities he faced as a black creative in the entertainment industry. His story serves as a sobering reminder of the difficulties faced by trailblazers in a system that has not always been equitable. Controversy also arose on the set of The Jeffersons, with Sherman Hemsley, whose portrayal of the brash, opinionated George Jefferson became iconic, taking a quiet but powerful stand against the use of racial slurs in the show's dialogue. A seasoned actor with a strong background in theater, Hemsley was deeply committed to his craft and to portraying George as a multifaceted character. Over time, however, he grew uncomfortable with some of the language his character was required to use, particularly when it involved offensive racial terms. Hemsley believed that George Jefferson, while flawed and unapologetically abrasive, should not perpetuate harmful stereotypes. When his concerns were not addressed by the producers, Hemsley resorted to subtle acts of defiance, mumbling or deliberately under-delivering lines he found objectionable. His approach forced the writers to reconsider their choices, leading to a gradual reduction in the use of such language. This behind-the-scenes struggle reflected broader cultural shifts during the 1970s and 1980s, as television began to grapple with evolving attitudes toward race and representation. Despite these challenges and controversies, The Jeffersons solidified its place as a cultural and historical cornerstone of television. Its groundbreaking depiction of an upwardly mobile African-American family broke barriers, tackling issues of race, class, and identity with humor and depth. The show's unforgettable characters, incisive social commentary, and moments of real change resonated with audiences, offering both entertainment and enlightenment. More than just a sitcom, The Jeffersons became a cultural touchstone, bringing complex conversations into America's living rooms while celebrating resilience, ambition, and the pursuit of the American dream. Decades after its conclusion, the series remains a testament to the power of storytelling, to challenge norms, inspire dialogue, and leave an enduring legacy. Deep Secrets of the Jeffersons. Let's explore some fun and lesser-known facts about the Jeffersons, from behind-the-scenes stories to hidden details about the cast. Here's a closer look at what made the show so unique. The Jeffersons had a bit of a rocky ride, bouncing between 15 different time slots over its 10-year run. Despite these challenges, the show's devoted audience never stopped watching, showcasing just how beloved it really was. When Isabel Sanford first found out that Sherman Hemsley would play her on-screen husband, she wasn't thrilled. In an interview, Isabel Sanford shared some interesting behind-the-scenes details about the Jeffersons. When asked about why the show didn't have a proper closing episode, she expressed her frustration.
There was never a closing episode of The Jeffersons.
Never was, and that's what I'm upset about until today. And I have said that publicly several times.
Who are you most upset with about it?
I guess the network.
Sanford also recalled her initial feelings about working with Sherman Hemsley, admitting she couldn't see them as a believable on-screen couple. She even called him unattractive and loud Hemsley, while Hemsley found Sanford arrogant. Despite these rocky beginnings, the cast developed a playful dynamic, with Sanford earning the nickname Queen for her elegance, while Hemsley was affectionately called Neck due to his thin, lanky frame. When The Jeffersons was first pitched, Sanford was hesitant to leave the success of All in the Family, unsure if the spin-off would succeed. However, when producers told her she would be replaced on All in the Family regardless, she agreed to join the new show. The nickname Wheezy wasn't random either. Hemsley had a childhood crush named Louise, whom he called Wheezy, and when he accidentally referred to Sanford by that name, the producers loved it, and the name stuck. Marlon Gibbs, who played Florence, wasn't initially a regular. She kept her job at United Airlines while filming The Jeffersons at night, but eventually, the producers offered her a full-time contract, allowing her to leave her day job. Interestingly, despite George and Wheezy being a married couple on screen, Hemsley and Sanford had a 20-year age difference. Mike Evans, who played their son Lionel, was only 11 years younger than Hemsley. Franklin Cover, who played Tom Willis, lived in New York while filming in Los Angeles. He commuted weekly by bus to the studio and flew back to New York on weekends. Roxy Roker, who played Helen Willis, often brought her son Lenny Kravitz to the set. Lenny grew up around the cast and later became a famous rock star. Roker's role as part of TV's first interracial couple sparked controversy and hate mail aimed at both her and her on-screen husband, Franklin Cover. The cast of The Jeffersons was caught off guard when the show was abruptly canceled. Sherman Hemsley learned about it through a newspaper article, while Isabel Sanford found out from a cousin who was reading a tabloid. The sudden ending, with no real finale, left the cast feeling disrespected and disappointed by the lack of notice. One of the main reasons The Jeffersons remains a cultural icon, even as many other TV shows have faded into obscurity, is its unforgettable theme song, Moving On Up. The catchy tune isn't just a show staple, it's a classic. From the very first note, Moving On Up grabs your attention, and it's nearly impossible not to sing along. Its upbeat, feel-good energy perfectly mirrors the spirit of the show, making it a timeless anthem. Let's take a look at what the cast has been up to since The Jeffersons ended. Sherman Hemsley, who brought the loud and lovable George Jefferson to life, was a key part of the show, appearing in all 253 episodes. After The Jeffersons ended in 1985, Hemsley continued working in TV and film, starring in the sitcom Amen and other projects. He passed away in 2012 at the age of 74 in El Paso, Texas. Hemsley will always be remembered for his unforgettable humor and his ability to tackle serious issues while keeping audiences laughing. Isabel Sanford, who played the strong-willed and witty Wheezy Jefferson, cherished that her character always had the final word in her relationship with George. Sanford's journey to acting wasn't easy. Born in Harlem, she dreamed of being an actress, but had to sneak out to perform in nightclubs. Before landing her big break, she worked as a key punch operator. Sanford passed away in 2004 at the age of 86, leaving behind a lasting legacy, including her iconic role as Wheezy. Mike Evans, the original Lionel Jefferson, played the calm and liberal son of George and Wheezy. After leaving the show after the first season, Mike returned briefly in 1980 but soon shifted his focus to his writing career. He co-created and wrote for the hit show Good Times and left The Jeffersons for good in 1981. Later, he built a successful career in real estate. Sadly, Mike Evans passed away from throat cancer in 2006 at the age of 57. Damon Evans took over the role of Lionel Jefferson after Mike Evans left. Although they weren't related, Damon brought his own unique style to the character. Born in Baltimore, Damon was also an accomplished opera singer and appeared in various theater productions, including Jesus Christ Superstar. He later became known for his role in Roots, The Next Generations, and continues to perform in both theatrical and musical roles. Roxy Roker, who played Helen Willis, the other half of TV's first interracial couple alongside Franklin Cover's Tom Willis, brought authenticity to her role by showing the producers a photo of her real-life interracial marriage when they had doubts. Born in Miami, Roxy was the mother of rock star Lenny Kravitz, who often visited the set. She passed away in 1995 in Los Angeles, but her legacy lives on through her groundbreaking role. Franklin Cover, who played Tom Willis, the Jeffersons' neighbor, was known for his performances in classic films like Wall Street and The Stepford Wives. Born in Cleveland, Franklin had a long stage career before joining the Jeffersons. His final TV appearance was on Will and Grace in 1999. Like many of his co-stars, he found out about the show's cancellation from Entertainment Tonight and passed away in 2006 from pneumonia. Mara Gibbs, who played the sharp-tongued maid Florence, became a fan favorite and was promoted to a series regular after initially being cast for a recurring role. Born Margaret Bradley in Chicago, Mara moved to Los Angeles and worked at United Airlines before finding fame. She also starred in the short-lived spin-off Checking In. Mara went on to have a long career in TV, film, and music, even receiving a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.